Everybody, welcome to Keepin' It Real. I'm Danny B, and of course, this is Jamie B, and you might be a little shocked today. For the first time ever on camera, I am wearing a New York Giants football hat. I did this because this is the final episode of season 11. However, we will be back shortly. We're going to do some appearances the middle of June. Anybody that's up in Gothenburg, June 1st for the Cornhole Tournament, we will be there. Jamie as well.
We will be.
Another nice look for you.
Thanks, Danny.
I hope you had a nice Mother's Day.
I absolutely did. Thank you, Danny.
It was fun. You had your mom over, your sisters.
Yep. I cooked for them.
I actually had a good time. Honestly,
it was
did.
Really
it was
nice.
a good time, and I was happy to watch you guys laugh and cry. And your sister-in-law Marsha was her first year without her son for Mother's Day, and it was again sad but happy at the same time.
Right.
Jamie has another special recipe, and I say special because it was her first recipe she ever made for her father. And I don't want to get them confused. Your father, your biological father. Thank you. Okay, and you're gonna love it. And not only did she make this dish the first time, she used my mother's pots and pans that she gave us, which are now going to be retired after this meal.
Yes.
Not giving them away or throwing them away. Going to give them to Jaden when he's ready 20 years from now.
I know. I was thinking they're going to be vintage, but then I'm like, no, they might be ancient by then. By the time he moves out.
Come on. Oh, with him, yeah.
Well,
My mother had those. I think my mother had those pots for a while before she even gave them to me when I, got my place.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, you're going to enjoy this recipe and another one of your sought-after recipes, and you make it a little different than most
it's just
people.
easy the way I do it.
One thing, before I turn it over to you, all of your recipes have been great, and you're not a chef. We mess around, call you Chef Jamie, but you're just a good cook that has your own
I don't
system.
have any backgrounds in any of this stuff. I'm just, I learned it hands-on from being home and, learning to be domesticated, which is crazy because anyone that knew me when I was a teenager, they would definitely not think I'd ever become domesticated because I would always be like, I'm never getting married. I'm never having kids, blah, blah, blah. And here we are, at 23, I'm getting married, and 27, having my first kid, who, by the way, will be 20 next week.
Jaden, yeah.
He's going to be 20, and I can't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know.
He's a really good kid, though. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of our accomplishments, our ups and downs, but always staying together on the same path and never giving up on each other or our love and our family. And, that means a lot, especially in 2024. For me, family values is everything. And so we have that, I feel like, in our home. So.
Hey, before I forget, you guys and girls got to hold tight. Before cooking with Jay, What's Cooking, Jay? We're going to hear from the Philly Godfather, phillygodfather.com. My friend Steve, besides Billy Walters, and some might not care, but it is a pretty cool story. They've made several books. He's been on Netflix, his crew, about the NBA betting scandal of 2007. He's got a movie deal underway, another book. He's going to expose 2 more referees that were involved in that scandal back in 2007. And
everybody loves a good scandal, Danny.
I got close to this crew for a long time now, and I kind of had my thoughts and my suspicions on who it could be, knowing being close to the situation. So, and he's going to throw out some picks throughout the NBA Finals, and obviously the referees have been horrible. The Knicks right now it's Tuesday. Its series is tied at 2. Rangers, I don't know what happened last night, but you want to hold tight, not only for the recipe, but you guys, or it's just people that like sports. He's a great guy too.
Sports betting, right?
Sports betting, not just in business too.
Yeah, he has a great story as well.
And it's not just in sports betting, but real estate.
Yeah,
anything he touches turns to gold. And hardworking guy.
Hard work.
He'll tell you about his story. But basically, his father come over from Greece. They were broke like a lot of people back in the day, and started with nothing, turned it into a small empire. His father got involved with a hot dog stand. Right, the carts, the old school carts, and again, hold tight for his story. And I look forward to seeing the movie and the book. And there's been several books, Netflix specials. And so hold tight
It's fantastic.
for the PhillyGodfather.com and Jamie's first recipe for us and her last recipe for season 11. And
yeah.
it's so delicious. But then again, everything's delicious, including you.
Oh, thanks, Danny. I try. I always try to, give a lot of love and attention in the kitchen to the food that I'm preparing for my family.
I see that. You do. You enjoy yourself.
Well, I enjoy everything I do in life. That's how you have to be positive. You got to think that way.
Yes.
If you're going to wake up every day and go to bed in a negative frame of mind, that's, how you're going to be in life, and nothing good is going to come about that. You got to always look towards the positive in life, and that's what I choose to. I like being happy. I don't like being sad or angry.
I like you when you're happy.
I like being happy and positive all the all and I like to inspire other people as well.
You've always been a positive Joe.
That's why for, this show, Keeping It Real, I just like keeping it real. I don't want to ever be fake to anyone or present myself in a fake way that I'm not who I am. What you see is what you get. Always.
Well, speaking of Steve, he was actually on the first Keeping It Real back in 2013. Yeah.
I remember that
first season with Andy, and it seemed like yesterday. A lot of fun. We used Ustream back in the day.
Yeah.
Even Coco used Ustream. I don't even know if that platform still it's dead, Mike. Yeah, it's a dead platform.
Yeah.
But Michael,
things change.
Excuse me, everybody. Michael will be joining us at Greg's place. Phil's place, Natosi.
Yeah.
June 15th. I guess there's going to be about 45, 50 North Bergen people bussing in.
It's going to be fun.
Ooh.
It's going to be a fun time.
I just have flashbacks of like what it could be back in the 80s with this crew, and I'm sure they tamed down a little bit, I would hope. But I look forward to it.
Well, if they're anything like you, Danny, I wouldn't have much hope to that.
We're all from the same mold. You know what? It's
and you can always tell a Jersey person.
North Bergen, I know you got Vinny down in Florida. Vinny's not familiar. And then Tommy in Tennessee. A lot of friends are in Florida, but a lot of them are moving out to Tennessee too. And they all seem to get together. And I look forward to the cornhole thing and get to talk to everybody and see who's going to be there, because I'm going to be interviewing some people.
Okay.
Anybody that wants to jump on the show on the 15th of June and join us at Phil Natosi's place. I get it backwards. 1836 Salon.
Yes.
It's not a saloon or saloon. Salon is where you get the haircut.
You just said salon. It's a
saloon. I keep doing it backwards.
Yes. It's okay. They know what you mean.
They do.
Yeah.
I say everything
well, hopefully you'll get it right that day. If not, I think Mike could edit that.
I think they know what I'm saying. But
Mike's good at what he does.
My English was never the best. I'll be the first one.
Me either.
My yogi-isms, I guess, like Yogi Berra was famous for his words that made sense, that didn't make sense, but you knew what he was saying. And he became quite like they still use his quotes all these years later. So maybe some of the salon, Danny. But anyway. It was fun. 12 weeks already. A little break. We're gonna have some clips throughout. We're still gonna produce some videos in the kitchen. Mike will be doing some work behind the scenes, and then during football, I'm looking forward to it, because for 30 years of doing sports betting radio, 1994. So this will be my 31st football season. We're going to have video to it, too. You're going to be able to see the guests. You're going to be able to watch and hear. For years, mostly, you've been able to just hear it.
Just on the audio.
Fox, CBS, ESPN Radio, California, Boston, wherever. Now you're going to actually get to see it. So I look forward to that. It might be a little challenging in the beginning, but we'll see where we go. Yeah, we got a good, competent guy behind us. And my goal, Jay, is to get us into a real studio, like a place that other people can come to, and maybe they need some advice from Mike on how to do a podcast, or just a place to record it properly. I can do it in my house. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
But you want to do it right, and that was the problem with us for years. We just, just do it by ourselves, and it was
they're becoming more and more popular now.
Right, absolutely. But everybody has a podcast. Even the guy that fixes the refrigerator has a podcast. I mean, everybody has one.
They have a show. Well, there's, people, there's something for everybody out there, really. I mean, if you have the personality and you're good behind the camera and you can do it and you can talk, I mean, and you have content that you want to get out there, I mean, that's definitely something that you should look into doing, because it does give information to other people. You inspire other people to do, especially with positivity, really keep positive to everything that you put out there. But there's a lot of informational stuff. That's why YouTube's so big. I mean, anything you need, you need gel nail. How do I put on a gel nail? You look that up and there you go. You got videos on there. And that's how these kids learn.
Same with the workout thing. I was like, I'm going to do a workout video, but then you look, everybody's got a video. And you know what? These phones are spies.
Everybody's not you, Danny, though.
These phones are spies. As soon as everything's popping up, workout videos, everything, you can't even... I wonder if it can read your mind now.
I think they can. I'm definitely convinced that they're like reading our minds.
They do. Even the TV, your own TV. You can throw your smartphone away. The TV's a spy.
Well, it's almost like a psychic thing, right? Because they monitor everything you look up, everything that you do on your phone, right? So they basically can read your mind from that, because they're like, they're in your head already. And all that
yes,
they're in your head. So that's, See,
I'm not very, I'm not up to speed after all these years, which I should have been with technology. I struggle this day just to get on and off. Like back and forth from I don't know how to get off this page and close this tab. Yeah. Like, what the fuck is a tab? A soda tab? I don't fucking tabs. Yes. I get frustrated, right? I'm like, what? I'll just go. A lot
of older people, they don't even want the smartphones, because they don't like change.
I look forward to the day that I can dump the smartphone.
Like
honestly.
Even cable. I mean, how many people still have? We have cable, but like not many people have regular cable anymore. They stream everything.
Well, you know what? The internet.
But you give a 75-year-old lady like here stream, and she's like, "What's this?"
Some of them are good though. The ones that are patient and want to learn, like your mom. She doesn't want to learn like me.
They like that kind of
stuff. Like me, I don't really
want.
I don't have the. That was never me. And plus, I have a hard time reading too lately. Like learning stuff. Yeah. Like reading I got to get more into listening, like the audio books and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
I think Coco does well with that audio book, right? Yeah, I haven't even read the book.
I think you have ADHD,
ADD
or ADHD or something like that. Yeah, because you can't concentrate.
That's why I got the weed card. That's what they say. So
that helps with that, right? It makes
Actually,
you pay attention.
I'm up for renewal in 6 months. I got to get on that. I'm worried about missing that email.
So we're taking some time off because we got a busy
baseball.
schedule.
It's really just baseball. The kid's inundated.
Yeah, he's like 3 games a week plus the practice. So it's been a lot. But over the weekend we went to the Iron Pigs game because they had the Field of Dreams, and a lot of the different teams were able to go down on the field. So Jace got to go down there, which was like a fun experience, and he got some pictures with the what are they, AAAs from the Mets, which was nice because they were like on their side of it. So they were generous enough to come and introduce.
Some of them played in the big leagues. I think one of the guys with the Syracuse team was in the big leagues for 11 years. A couple of the Philly players were down there.
Yeah, so that was exciting.
It's great, but the kids were screaming in my ear.
We had to go. We left early because it was on a Saturday. I was like, what are we thinking on a Saturday? But it was like, his team was going there, and it was like the whole stadium. I mean, you couldn't even walk through there. And then I was like, I'm going to go get some chicken Pete's fries. I go. The line is like 2 hours. I'm like, and they look soggy. I'm like, no, I'm not waiting in line for soggy fries.
With nothing for me. I waited 2 innings by myself with this kid screaming in my ear. Like, every time, make some noise. They didn't go like, yeah. They were like, ah, ah.
Because we got into the section because we bought the tickets with the his team. So you're all sectioned in certain areas where normally we would be getting seats where the parents are not going to pay that much for their kid to sit over there.
So it's $12, $15 tops. I don't even think.
No, the other ones are like $40 a ticket. They're a little bit. I mean, not that it's huge, amount of money, but there is a difference, and people aren't paying that.
Just peace of mind's
But all the kids, I was like, I am never coming here again. Like,
when they got back with their pretzels and everything, I gave them all the shit face.
It's like the old hag sitting in the middle of like
you left me here for 2 innings on a chilly night with these kids screeching in my ear. The parents, And plus, I kept getting hit in the head
even
with a
to
bag.
get into the place, they only had only a few metal detectors that they made all these people go through. It was like not organized at all. I was like, oh my gosh, so like sandwiched
being
in there.
Being on the subway in the city.
I'm like, I am way above this shit. Yeah,
I kept,
I'm not
like
doing
I said,
that
this
again.
one lady, especially through the metal detector, she had a huge bag.
Big bag.
And I happened to be the one getting clunked with it.
Yeah.
And even in the seat, I kept getting with the souvenir. I got hit with the banner thing, whatever they were flipping.
Oh, the pom-poms. The pom-pom things. The cheering pom-poms.
And I'm trying to, be nice. I know they're kids. But, like, I'm looking at the parent like, listen.
I'm like, Danny's over this.
I'm like, as soon as they shut up, I said, give me the keys. Give me the keys. And
then we were going to go do something. Jace was going to throw the ball. And then that was a line. And we're like, I'm not waiting in any of these lines. I'm sorry. And our seats suck. I mean, can't even see anything. Like, you did your thing. We're going. And thankfully we did, because then it started raining. So we would have been.
Yeah, thank God, because it did. We beat everybody, because it's tough getting out of it. Beautiful stadium.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah.
And like, during the week would probably be better where it's not as crowded. It was a Saturday.
That's usually when we go. Yeah. I do support the AAA and the minor league, because they're playing their hearts out to get to the next level.
Yeah.
But I never go out on a Saturday or a Friday for some reason.
We did it for Jace.
For some reason, I made that awful mistake. And but anyway, so I think it's about time to tap out. Yes. Jace has to get over to get. Don't ask me why. Another perm already.
I got to go pick him up from school to take him to get his hair done.
Perm. It's how long? I think he got the perm in week 1 of this. He'll
text me from school. Perm. Make my
You're not ready, bud. Your hair's gonna burn out. You're gonna look like me if you don't stop. You have no hair, damn it.
Oh, the kids you look good with no hair, Danny.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna start doing the show without hair, without the hat. Right? The hair I don't have.
You say that, but you'll feel naked. No, it's like doing a naked.
I'll do a Patreon show for that. You gotta pay to watch the naked head. Just said, hey everybody, for $1 a month.
Something for everyone.
But you know what? It's been fun, and I look forward to seeing everybody.
We don't have our drinks, Danny. I have water.
Yeah, but you know what? We're doing the shows too early. You got to remember, we're not live. And we're still deciding in June if we're going to do a live feed, record. We'll figure it out, but probably a little bit of both, where Mike can do his magic, and, of course, people can film, and we're going to have some guests come on stage, and we have to go scout the place out, Mike. Look at our surroundings.
Yes.
Let's scout it out.
We got a lot going on.
But we do, and we got to get on out of here. But once again, thanks everybody for following our 12 weeks, 11 seasons, and we'll be back shortly. And I'm really excited about season 31, which I'm going to get back on air with that in early August. Inside the numbers.
Yeah.
So you'll get a double dose of us, right? You get inside the numbers, some great guests like the Philly Godfather, my buddy Steve. And various sports bettors, odds makers, celebrities, like I used to have on the shows all the time.
Those were great.
You know,
a lot of people enjoyed them.
Kind of got away from all that.
Yes.
You know, with legalization in the last 5 years, I don't know. I was always for it, and now I'm like, I got a little crazy. With the leagues are involved, players are betting, referees are probably betting. Imagine that. Wink, wink.
Well, I do hear people say that all the time. Like
they only make
they say it all the time. The refs. They call the wrong plays. Like especially with the sports betting, you have to think they are throwing. And a lot of people say they do it for the thrill. Not necessarily gambling. You need the money, right? You don't necessarily need that money, but you do it for the thrill of it.
Some do. When you got $40 million,
but I'm saying the players, I think people can be paid off.
Well, yeah. Well, you got to remember
to throw the games.
I don't know what the average player makes in the NBA, but you got to say about $5 or $6 million is the least.
And that's with the refs. They can not call a play or call a play or a foul or whatever the hell it is. And
at least you got them referees right, and you didn't call them umpires.
Oh, because I was calling the umpires the ref. Yeah. Oh, what else? Danny hates it when I go there.
Sneaking the base.
They're sneaking the base. Because it's not sneaking. I said they're so sneaky.
She's like, the one thing about that team, they always sneak the base.
They snook them.
They sneak the base.
Yes.
You mean stealing the base?
Well, it's been a fun season.
It has been.
But
we'll be just taking a little break. We'll be back, and we're going to do some cameos in between. Jamie will pop some videos out there on her.
Yeah, I have some quick recipes to put out.
You're getting pretty good on that boomerang and your ticky-tacky.
I got my little
What are you going to do if they ban the TikTok? What are you going to do, Jamie?
Move on.
Yeah. You know what? Also, too, when we come back, we're going to be on X. where we can say a little bit more and not have to worry about sensitivity. So for those that are sensitive, stay on YouTube.
Well, we're always going to keep it positive, Danny. You're
you
want to get me.
No.
Danny needs to go on a format that he can just totally let it out.
But I am known for slipping a few nasty words, and it's good to hear. And sometimes the guests
We're so opposite, Danny. It's not even funny.
That's what makes us a good team. Anyway, again, don't go nowhere. We're going to be hearing from the Philly Godfather.com. My friend Steve out of Philadelphia. And Jamie's got a famous, fabulous dish, her first dish, her last dish of season 11. And the last time we'll be using my mom's pots and pans.
Yes.
Mama. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all very soon. Well, everybody, like I said, throughout the show, you're going to be hearing from the Philly Godfather himself. And for those not familiar with the Philly Godfather, it's my friend Steve, first of all. Other than Billy Walters, Steve's been featured on more sports betting outlets than any other pro bettor, any better, period. I've been with him several times at Fox Studios. And it's just great to have you on. And the reason I want Steve on, keeping it real, obviously I have my own sports show, Inside the Numbers. We have a lot of controversy, Steve, with the referees, obviously. And right now I believe you're in the process of another book, a movie about your life. And I don't want to dive into it real quick. I don't want to say something that I'm not 100% on, but you had mentioned on X or Twitter that there's 2 more referees other than Tim Donaghy that will be exposed in this new book, new movie, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it on the Netflix special. There's a Netflix special called Flagrant Foul. They interviewed me for like 2 hours. I brought it up, scared the shit out of them, so they didn't use it. In the final cut, I guess they were worried about getting sued or whatnot. But yeah, there's 2 more refs that we have heavy information on during that time period where Timmy was fixing the games with Jimmy. And no matter what anybody says, they were fixing NBA games. And everybody loves to talk about the integrity of the game, but nobody talks about the integrity of the NBA, because when Jimmy's lawyer threatened to put every NBA on the witness stand, that's when the feds went from a 30-year sentence to a 1-year sentence. Just plead guilty. We'll make it all go away. So if we had put those referees on the stand, then the entire planet would have known that the league has no integrity.
Well, again, I'm not 100% on who they are, but being around you for a long time and knowing Tim Donaghy, I kind of have my own idea who they could be. But again, I'm not 100% on that. But that's how I met you. I remember the day Jimmy called me up looking to speak to Tim, thinking that Tim was in my office. He was very irate. It was, I think, 2012, December of 2012. I had just taken Tim to the Dallas Knicks game. First time he was at the arena since the scandal. It was out there in the news. I guess Jimmy heard about it and he got a little upset, so he called the office and he was, well, let me talk to him, right? And he goes, you want to meet somebody real? You want to meet the real sports bettors out there? Contact my guy, Steve. And that's how I met you shortly after that. And right away, you took me over to Joe Frazier's crew, right, at Joe Handbox. So we go back now a good 11 years, and it just went like that. But, I was already familiar with your work prior, because I've been in the sports betting business since 94 professionally. So obviously I knew who you were. And when the scandal happened in 07, I wasn't surprised. I had my own insights a little bit, but I can't believe it. And right now, more than ever, with sports betting being legal, Steve, it's under a lot of scrutiny. Players betting prop bets, etc. And so what do we expect from these referees moving forward through the finals? It's been a lot, obviously.
Yeah. And there's still an NBA lean. I mean, Timmy talked about it, how they come down before the series and they try and dictate which way the refs are going to call it. The series, watch out for these fouls, let this guy travel a little bit. And, like Timmy said, they knew when the league would come down and try and dictate which way to call the game, which team would win the series, because it's all, there's nothing more powerful than the whistle.
Right.
So I don't care if you're Michael Jordan, I don't care if you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I don't care if you're LeBron James. I'll take the ref over all those players any day of the week. I mean, look at Jonte Porter. He got jammed up. I mean, he was trying to fix NBA props, and they tried to cash $1 million prop, which was insane.
Right.
And they got caught, and he's been banned for life. So I always tell people, if there's one player fixing games, it's like roaches. If you see one roach, there's a lot more than just one. So whether it's on the college level or the professional level, but they really got to, they got to dig deep. They got to set a bunch of parameters. They got to really try and make sure no one else does this because, with the internet, everything's exposed.
Right.
Every conspiracy theories, you see things that don't make sense. You're like, what's going on here? So they really got to clamp down, especially now that, sports betting has been legalized everywhere. So the league has a big problem on their hands.
And not every player makes big money. This guy only made a couple of $1 million, which sounds like a lot, but not to an NBA guy out there trying to keep up with the Joneses. I think you had mentioned he only made like 2.5 in 3 years after taxes. It leaves you enough for a Happy Meal. It ain't a lot for those guys that are out spending $100,000 a night. Not all of them, but that lifestyle. And you grew up in Philly, obviously, and this movie and books about your life. And I don't want to compare it to a Bronx Tale because it's different, but it's everybody's familiar with the Bronx Tale, the movie Goodfellas. But you grew up on the streets of Philadelphia around the wise guy. You worked hard. Your father was a hard-working guy. I think he ran He had hot dog vending machines and stuff. Wagons and stuff. And so you started working hard in Philly as a kid and worked your way up and on the streets, and gambling's been in your blood since you can remember.
Yeah, my dad had hot dog carts. He put me in a hot dog cart at the age
That's
of
what
8.
they are, hot dog. It's been so long.
Hot dogs, meatballs, pretzels, Philly pretzels, some Frank soda. Man, it was a great learning experience because I didn't go to school. I dropped out in 9th grade, and it was the education of my life, working the street, learning the value of a dollar, how to talk to people, how to communicate. That's something that's lost with our youth today because they're always texting on the phones.
Absolutely.
And they never want to talk. Everywhere I go, and I've always had my kids with me everywhere I went, whether it's business meetings, you name it. And everywhere I go, I make sure they watch me. If I get in an elevator, I say hi to everyone. If we're at a restaurant, I say hi to everyone. You got to communicate. You got to talk. You got to express yourself because the reality is you never know who you're sitting next to. So opportunity is always there. If you're not looking for it, you're not going to find it. So I've met a lot of people just by, being friendly, whether at a bar, at a restaurant, at a sporting event. And it's sad to see kids these days, they've lost that art form. And even when when you're young and you're trying to pick up some girls, you got to have some game.
They don't have game to them anymore, the kids.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Jamie can hear everything.
Yes, I can.
Okay,
yeah.
good. But,
yeah.
I agree 100%. I have a 14-year-old. He's, playing ball. He's out there. He had his first girlfriend, lasted 3 weeks, and that was it. Lights out after 3 weeks. But I'm glad. He's too young to be.
He's too young to date.
Anyway, but I have my other son will be 20, and you're right. But they're street smart, even though I kind of pampered them a little bit.
Well, we exposed them, like Steve was just saying. We took our kids and we exposed them to everything. We're not the parents that are like, shh, don't talk that, in front of the kids. We're like, no, they hear it all. And I think it's good for them because then they're prepared in life as they get older because of that.
Right.
Like your boys.
Yeah, you have to have some street smarts, but it doesn't help to have it doesn't hurt to have the book smarts, but
absolutely.
But you have to be out there, and you're right. Communication, it's missing, and it's sad. It really is. So anyway, we're down to the semifinals, pal. Tight. 3 series are tied at 2-2. Boston's controlling 3-1 over Cleveland. Your thoughts. Again, we're doing this interview on a Tuesday. Anything can happen tonight. The show's usually out on a Wednesday or a Thursday. But your thoughts on the overall, who should we see? Boston obviously is the favorite, right? If there's going to be one team that can slide in that shouldn't be there or nobody expected them to be there, who could that be?
I mean, Minnesota's really good. Number 1 defensively in the entire season. They got some playmakers. They got Baby Jordan on that team. They can, offensively, they're strong. Defensively, they were number 1 all season. Dallas Mavericks, they got Luka and they got Kyrie. That's a tough series with a young, athletic OKC team, and that's all tied up. I actually have the Mavericks to win that series. I bet it before the series started at even money. It's a coin flip. Probably goes 7 games. Same with the Denver Nuggets and Minnesota here. I had taken plus 180 on Minnesota only because of the price. I think both teams are, pretty much equal. And if you're giving me plus money on a coin flip, I'll take the plus money every time. And Denver did win the championship last year. We had them at 21-1 before the season started. So it's always hard to repeat. So I try to X those teams out, even though they got Jokic and they got a superstar team that's stacked, and they were down 2-0 and they came back 2-2. But I think Minnesota advances. I think Dallas advances. And the Celtics have had the easiest road there. I mean, the Cavs are the Cavs, so they're probably going to get there. Even though the Knicks are a real gritty team, but they're a little banged up.
Right.
And the Pacers, they're looking strong. So, we'll see what happens. But I think it's going to be the Celtics and either Minnesota or Dallas.
One of the things you're known for is your future bets, whether it's the Super Bowl, the college championship game, the finals, baseball. You guys do it all. And, I've seen a lot of gamblers come and go over the years, Steve. I've been on radio since 94, but honestly, I've never seen a crew like yourself, the animals, your own kids, the 8-ball, the college kids. You groom them, and they're not just successful in sports betting, but in life. I know your son Matt has his own talk show. He interviews a lot of the Philly crew out there, and you have quite the story. I look forward to. There's been a lot of shows, a lot of movies, books. You've been in them. I'm looking forward to your story alone, to focus on you, because a lot of the focus has been on Jimmy, etc. Obviously. But you were one of the guys behind the scene, and to this day, now you're the face of everybody. Back then there was. In your book, you'll talk about it, but you were kind of in the shadows for various reasons, but you are now the face of the animals for the last, 12, 13 years?
Yeah, and it's crazy because, the things I was involved with were taboo back then. And now they're the two hottest things in the country, whether it's the weed market and the sports betting.
Okay.
Yeah. And back then, I was so scared to get on the phone and talk to people. I would fly out to Arizona and just to talk to someone. I would fly to New York, right. Costa Rica. And now, it's fashionable, it's sexy. Everybody wants to be involved in it. It's become, it's done a full 180. Now I'm out there, and the statute of limitations are up on everything. Now I can be open about everything in the book. A lot of guys died already that, were a little scary if you want to talk about them. Right. It's a genuine story. And I think that translates on the internet. Right away you can tell if someone's trying to sell you or bullshit you a story. It's not true. It doesn't take long for them to get exposed. My story is the story about, an immigrant Greek, father of 3 kids and my mom. They left a socialist country back in 1969 with $200 in their pocket. They came to America to get a slice of the American dream. I was born, a year later, and we struggled. I mean, I remember my father, we didn't have cereal. We couldn't afford cereal. All of my friends were eating cereal. My dad would get the day-old bread he had from, working as a busboy, crumple it up in the milk that he cut with water, and he put some sugar on top, and that was our cereal. And that's just some of the few things, he had to do to sacrifice to stretch the dollar because, at that time he was making $1 a week, working 90 hours a week. My mom was making $100 a week as a seamstress. So they had to raise 4 kids on $200 a week, which was a lot more back then, but still it wasn't much.
Right.
And he worked his ass off, saved up some money, bought a hot dog cart, and slowly started making some money. But the hot dog cart wasn't for me. I was in the street. I was hustling. I always wanted to earn. And when I was 18, I met some sharp guys that were moving games for guys out in Vegas for some of the sharpest sports bettors in the world back then. And that's how I got acclimated to the business. Next thing you know, I'm in an office with 50 other guys that were betting money, big money, we're moving money. But I always knew there was an expiration date on that job as a mover. They used to call us movers back then because you couldn't keep finding bookmakers. Well, then they didn't need you no more. Then you couldn't make no money. So what I started doing is I tried to reverse engineer the game. They start sending us every day. And slowly but surely, I started identifying the variables, the factors of why they're betting certain baseball games, why they're betting certain football games. And next thing you know, before they would send us the moves, I already had them written down, and they would start matching up. And the more they matched up, the more I knew I was handicapping the right way. And that's how I became an originator, a guy that moves the sports betting market, a guy that, makes a living betting on sports. And obviously there was a lot of money in the weed market back then. I wasn't selling dimes in the park. We were doing tonnage. And next, I'm in the jungles of Mexico with the cartel, and we're bringing back tractor trailers. So I was, and people were like, well, if you're making money, betting on sports, why would you do that? Because you never have enough money. Right. You just don't. I don't care who you are. Look at Bill Gates. Look at the owner of Dallas Mavericks. They're always trying to find new revenue buckets, new revenue streams, new businesses to make more and more. And as we've, notice in the last 5 years, inflation is through the roof. So whatever you thought you had got cut in half. And now you got to go back on that horn and keep making money, because if you got kids, you want to look out for their best, interest in the future, because you don't know what's going to happen. So, and plus I like the action. I mean, you're always in action.
Let's cut to chase. That's what you like. You like the hustle.
It is it's keeping it real.
It is. That's why we do our show, Keeping It Real. You've heard us. You've been with us in New York. We've done many shows together. Actually, Keeping It Real originated with you on the first show back in 2013. I think Daryl Dawkins was on the first or second show with us.
With the Godfather?
Yeah. We had David Purdom. He was David Purdom, now I think he's still with ESPN. I'm not sure, but it seemed like yesterday. But that's where Keeping It Real originated, about how hard it actually is to bet on sports. Everybody thinks it's so easy, especially today with all the information out there. 90% of the information is garbage, and all the free games out there. It's not free if you're losing money, right? So you're paying somebody. That's why when they follow you on X now, I still can't. I always want to say Twitter. You guys are legitimate. You're posting your record, win or lose. You got the nice breakdown sheet. If you follow, you got to be consistent, number one, right? So before we let you go, because I know you got a busy slate today, what's your advice to today's gambler, the new generation of sports bettors that are betting the props, because I think more people now are betting, especially the new bettors, they're more betting the player props than sides and totals.
You got to keep track of all your winnings. You got to know exactly where you're up, where you're down. You got to, monitor everything. Bankroll management is huge. Money management. You can't go chasing if you lose. You got to take it on the chin. There's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. And try and learn from the best, and try and figure out, why are they betting these games. Follow. There's some good guys out there. You, me, a couple of my friends. The animals, obviously. But pay attention why they're betting those games, and try and reverse engineer those games, those positions. And it's a market like any other market. So if you treat it like a business, it's going to pay like a business. If you treat it like entertainment, it's going to cost you like entertainment. You go to a concert, get front row seats, pay $5,000. 3 hours later, you're out of money. You had a good time. But, you spent $5,000. So it depends what you want to do with it. If you can find a little niche, if you really pay attention to like your home teams or the colleges around you, and you read as many articles as possible, you pay attention to the injuries, and you got to know what the price is, and you got to be able to identify value. And that's what it comes down to. If you can identify value, just like any other market, you look to go buy a house. If you spend 1 hour looking around compared to 100 hours looking at 100 houses, you got a better chance of finding value if you look at 100 houses than just one or two. So if you just wake up on a Sunday and say, this team looked great last week, I'm betting them this week, well, chances are you're going to lose. But if you spend 10 to 20 hours researching a game, you got a better chance of winning. And the break even, 52.2% when you're risking 100. So,
if you have 20 hours a week to spend doing this, chances are you're a professional, because most people are working 40 hours a week, and they come at this, they wake up, they turn on the internet, or Stephen A. Smith likes this, and this one's, it's not for everybody, and you have to have the money, to allocate. Like you said, most businesses fail, Steve, because they're underfunded, right? You got a great idea, I'm going to do this, I'm going to open up, but I only got $50,000 with a $500,000 idea. So I guess, it all goes hand in hand, but also being a good sport. Like, you guys are honest. We have great runs, and you have some shitty runs where you lose 5 games in a row. It happens. It happens to the best. There's good weeks, there's great weeks, and, some weeks are better than others. Some months, some sports are better than others, so... final words, Steve, from the PhillyGodfather.com. I mean, it was great. It's been too long. It's been about 4 years since we last had you on.
I'm going to tell you guys, I love you. Every time I'm with you guys treat me so good. I love you, your wife, your kids. You guys are awesome. I had some of the best times with you up in Hoboken at Milo's restaurant up in New York City. You guys are the best. Advice, I usually tweet it out that my hockey sucks. So don't ever bet my hockey on Twitter. And I'm 100% honest about it. But every other sport, I do pretty well. So that's about it, man. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Keep kicking ass.
Well, thanks, Steve, from the PhillyGodfather.com. Always a pleasure. And I'll hit you up in August, talk some football. Have a great one, my friend.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
welcome back to What's Cooking Jay. I'm Jamie Biancullo, and this is going to be my last segment for this season of Keepin' It Real, season 11. So I figured I'm going to end this with the very first meal I ever made. This meal is something I learned when I first became domesticated, and 25 years later, I am a domesticated diva, doing it all. I'm very proud of myself. So this is a meal that I actually made for my dad when he came over to Danny and I's apartment, and it was my first meal that I ever made. And it's chicken parm, which is my absolute favorite, and everyone loves this. If you grew up eating like the chicken tenders and stuff, that's what I used to love. So this was one of the things that I was passionate about learning how to make, breaded chicken, fried chicken. So this is one of my favorite and my first meal I've ever made. So I'm going to teach you guys my techniques on how I make this. It's very easy to do. Everything I do is not from scratch. I don't make my own pasta and I don't make my own sauce, but somehow, some way, I make it really good, and it's really yummy and everyone loves it, and it's always a big hit at parties. And you can actually make this just the breaded chicken alone, or side it with mashed potatoes, broccoli, something, a vegetable on the side. Danny and Jace love to eat it just alone. So you're gonna need, for this portion, I did a 4-pack of chicken breast. You're gonna need eggs, you're gonna need pasta sauce, you're gonna need olive oil, you're gonna need breadcrumbs, mozzarella cheese, Parm cheese, and I think that's about it. So I'm gonna start getting this going. I already did a lot of the breaded chicken already to cut this in time here. So we're gonna use olive oil, and you wanna just put this in your pot. You wanna cover the bottom of it. You don't want to add too much. You can add more if you need it as you're going along with this. And you're gonna put this on a medium-high heat. So we're gonna get this going. I got it on like a 6-7, because you definitely don't want to put the chicken on too early. You want to make sure this is heating up. So I already cut my chicken, and I sliced my chicken. I did the video of my chicken on how I slice it down in one of my other YouTube videos, my recipe. I showed you guys how I do it. So I always do all my chicken. I cut all the fat and all the veins and everything off of it, and I make it nice and thin, okay? So with this 4-pack of boneless chicken, I used about 6 to 7 eggs, and you just want to put them in a bowl, whip them up, and you're going to take your chicken and you're just going to dip them into the egg. Very easy to do. I mean, I know a lot of people probably already do this type of thing, but for the people who don't, this is how you do it. So you just put it into the egg, and then you're going to put it into the breading. Now, I only use the Progresso breadcrumbs, the Italian breadcrumbs. This is the best breadcrumbs to use for this. I would not suggest to use anything else, because this is the best one to have. I've tried other ones and I don't like them. So you're just gonna bread this up nicely. You get it on both sides, and it's really just a light breading. It's not like too heavy. Like, when you get the frozen chicken tenders, like really, it's thick on there. So we're gonna bread up a couple of these. And today, this is the pot I'm using, okay? This is the pot that my mother-in-law got me 25 years ago, and this is when I made this chicken parm the first time, that's the pot that I used it, right? I made it all in this pot that she gave me, and Danny. And so Danny decides for Mother's Day, he wants me to retire it, so he bought me a new set. So I'm just gonna bread these up. I'll finish these later. I'm gonna get this heated up, and Danny's gonna show you guise the new set, and I'm gonna go wash my hands off really quick. Danny, yeah. You can talk about your set real quick.
I figured after all these years, and it was 24 years, not 25. Don't get ahead of yourself. 25 years together in October, married 24 years in July. But yeah, Mother's Day, I went out and got her a nice little set. I don't know how effective it is. My mother swore by those pots, and we're not throwing them out by no means. Jaden, we're going to pack them up in this box, and when he's ready, 20 years from now, to move out.
When he's ready 20 years from now.
So anyway, this was one of my Mother's Day gifts for you. And
yes, that was one of them.
As good as these pans, because every meal you've made in them have been delicious.
Thank you, Danny.
And thank you, Mom, for it. But yeah, it's time to go.
Anyway,
back to work.
Thank you, Danny.
You're welcome.
So I'm just going to let this heat up a little bit. And like I said, you don't necessarily have to make this as a chicken parm meal. You can make this as just by itself, or at mashed potatoes, a side of vegetables. And you can also bread this up earlier in the day and then fry it up later on. I would not suggest to do, like, if you're having a party, because this is a big hit when you are having a party, not to leave it overnight because it gets soggy. It's just not good. So, but it will stay fresh if you do it earlier in the day and you're going to fry it up later. So I'm just going to let this heat up a little bit more because I definitely want you guys to see, you know, how crispy it gets. And this has always been a big hit every time I make it for everyone. They just absolutely love it. Like I said, I don't make things from scratch, but I do love Newman's own. All of his products are amazing. The pizzas, the sauce, anything. They do cookies. Everything is all nonprofit. It all goes to charity. So it's actually really good to buy this one. And it doesn't have all that junk in it. And I've actually tried the jar sauces that are like $10 and they're not good. So, but Newman's is really good. Like I said, the Progresso breadcrumbs, the Italian breadcrumbs, these are the ones that you always want to use. And every meal that you make that you use breadcrumbs, you definitely want to use the Progresso. And I will be using the Sargentino mozzarella. I like the finely shredded one for this because I'll show you later why I like the fine one. And you're going to need the Parm cheese. So we got that. Oh, the pasta, the Barilla protein pasta, angel hair. We love this one. I do not like the thin pasta because there's a difference. I don't like that one. I like the angel hair. But you can use any pasta that you want. If you like penne, whatever pasta you want to use with it, that's fine. I just do it with the angel hair. And I absolutely love the protein pastas. All right, let me see. I'm going to see if I can get this going. This should be hot enough here. Let's see. Yep, you hear it frying. It should get a little bit hotter because we want it to sizzle. We want to sizzle it on there. And like I said, you're not deep frying this, so you don't want to put too much oil in the pan. I've actually made it in front of other people who make food and they make stuff like this and they tell me, oh, that's a little bit too much, but then they see it absorbs as you go on. So that might be a little tricky when you're learning how to fry the food, that you don't fry it in too deep of oil. You just want it to be lightly, but then you don't want not enough because then you're gonna have to add it right away. And usually with like a 4-pack like this, I will have to add more, you know, by the time I'm done frying all this. So we're gonna get this going here. We're just gonna put a few pieces on here to show you guys. And the kids love this. This is great for parties. So once I'm done frying them, I put them on the paper towel so it absorbs all the grease on there. And they can cool for some time. We leave them out for a couple of hours before we put them in the refrigerator. And one tip that we do is we put them in a baggie and let that baggie air out before you close it. And just for whatever reason, it helps keep them nice for at least a night, you know. We like to eat them up within the day, but the kids will eat them up even the next day. So we're just gonna fry this up here. You just wanna make sure that your pan is heated well before you put them on. And you know, of course I'm doing this show, so I don't wanna like waste too much time on it, so should have let it heat up a little bit more, but it's still good. Okay, so we're gonna let that. Another tip that I do with the jarred sauce, right? It has great flavor in it as well. Love the Saccaroni one, but all their flavors are good. Jaden loves the basil one. But I always add spices, a little spices to them. So I always add like parsley, oregano. If you want a little spice, which I did add to this today, put a little crushed pepper in there and a little garlic powder. Another tip that I do with my pasta, just to make it look fancier, well, I always put the olive oil on it after you cook it. You want to put so it doesn't stick all together. But I always add parsley to it and mix it around and just makes it look good. It gives it a little flavor, but it's more or less for looks. You know, when you go out to these restaurants, they always have like, it's all fancy. And I'm all about presentation, making everything look good, cooking with love. Yeah, see, all that oil is already cooked down in here. So I'm just gonna let this, and because this is thin, it doesn't take that long to fry up and to cook all the way through. Some people like it thicker. I do not. Like I've talked about before, I love thin slice, and I'm pretty sure everyone that I make this for likes it thin as well. And the fact that it doesn't take that long to fry up. So I'm just gonna give this another second here. So this is going to be my last segment for a little bit with the Cooking with Jay What's Cooking Jay segment for Keeping It Real. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate all the love and the feedback that I got from it. Thank you for everyone who has shared my YouTube videos and came to our page or channel and liked it and subscribed to it. I really appreciate all that. It helps me move the show along and be able to get it out there and everyone to see. I know I'm not a professional and a lot of the stuff that I say might not make sense, but it is what it is and I'm being real, and that's why this is a segment from Keeping It Real. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching me in the kitchen. See, that's done. And this is another technique I always do, and I know chefs out there probably you should not cook, you should not cut into the meat. But this is how I know, okay, it's done, and so I like doing it. So I always cut it, and look, it's done, and that's tender. And so this is what I do. I layer it on paper towel. This is how I do it. Let me see here. Let me make sure this is all done here. Yep. And another tip that I gave before when I was making my chicken, for every first batch, this is Mike's batch, he gets the first batch. Every batch gets better because the pan gets more heated, the flavors get more into the pan. So the first batch is always the one that's got the little work and needs a little more work as it goes on. So the second and the third batch is the better batches. So this is what I do, and then I put, which I forgot to put more paper towel over here, and then I'll put another paper towel on top of this to get all that grease off. And then I just layer it as I'm making it. I just keep layering it. So you don't want to put your chicken on top of each other like this. So I layer it 4 or 5 pieces, whatever will fit on this paper towel, and then put another paper towel, and then each, stack it up. Okay, so this is what I do with the chicken parm. To make it chicken parm, because you need the cheese on it to make it the chicken parm. I personally don't like melted cheese too much like that. I don't know, I'm just weird like that, but Danny does. So this is what I do. So we're gonna put this is your chicken. I'm just gonna grab it with my hand here. Oh, this looks nicer, buddy. Okay. So we're gonna do this, and I had put in my spices already in my sauce here. So this is what I do with I don't have that much space here. Okay, this is what I do with the cheese. Because it's hot when it comes out, so I just put the cheese a little here on the bottom. And, a lot of, I believe, chicken parms would go into the oven and they would bake it especially at the restaurants, to bake it, to melt that cheese down. I don't do that. I skip that part. And then I just put the sauce right over it. And everyone's always loved this. Anytime I've made this for anyone, they just absolutely love it. I love getting compliments on the food I make. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like what I'm doing is right. And, unless people are lying to me about how much they like it. But I think you can tell when someone likes your food or not. So I'm going to add a little, always locatelli. I always have locatelli in the house. And any Italian dish I make, I will be adding the locatelli to it. So we're just going to add a little cheese to it. And this is so simple. Anyone can make this, but you're going to impress people with this. So we're just going to put some. And you know what else you can do on the top of it? We're going to add, because I know the people just love the cheese. That looks good. And you can even add a little parsley or any Italian seasoning on the top just to make it look fancier. Look how great that looks, right? That's hearty. Mike is definitely going to enjoy that. Again, everyone, this is going to be my last segment for a while, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I have enjoyed putting all my recipes out there, and hopefully you guys keep watching them all back, and I will be back it will be season 12 for Keeping It Real. Thanks, everyone.
It's time to get cooking with What's Cooking Jay. Grab the apron, turn off the thing, get it ready to play. We're mixing our flavors, making magic on your plate. With every sizzle, every stir, it's gonna be great.